I'm hearing from a lot of people who are suffering today. A lot of people are hurting. And a lot of them have found themselves unemployed. Or maybe it's just a situation with their family or with themselves. So I wanted to do a video about it. I don't have a particular plan, but I just wanted to share my thoughts from what I've been hearing. Now, most of my viewers are in the US, statistically, but it's global. And I have been hearing from people, literally every country, that have been telling me their hardship. And it seems to be quite pervasive. When you look around the world, I'm often finding the lack of prosperity that may have been there, let's say 2 decades ago. It doesn't seem to be present today. And what I've found is that there's more of a concentration of wealth. And I'm not talking about the statistics that I've shown you many, many times. I'm talking about just talking to people and just seeing what I see on the streets. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. You know what I'm talking about. And it's definitely something that I've personally noticed. A lot of people have told me they were laid off working in a particular job for a decade, 2 decades, whatever it might be. Even in my own experience, seeing people walked off the job after, let's say, that 10 or 20 year period. And why? Because they weren't performing? No. Because they did something wrong? No. It was because the position that they worked in could be replaced by somebody who was lower, or earning a lower salary. So they got walked out. You get a package, certainly. But what will that person do? Is that package sufficient enough? They've been working in that job for 30 years. That's all they know how to do. And this is the situation that so many people have found themselves in. You know, a lot of these people, maybe they didn't have any particular skill, but they found a job, they worked in that job. 30 years later, they're getting walked off the job. What are they going to do? They don't have a particular skill anymore. Do they have education? Is it even valid today? And that's the type of economy that we found ourselves in. This Rockefeller type economy where you have to be in single file, you have to follow the leader, everybody does what everybody else does until it's no longer relevant anymore, and then you're screwed over. How many people do I talk to constantly? Emails, comments, messages on all the different social media. I'm seeing it. And, you know, I feel for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people have experienced this historically as well. I mean, you had people coming to, whether it's Canada, the US, where they didn't have a particular education at all. They came here with nothing. They built themselves up. And maybe they were just able to basically survive. And then hopefully later generations would do better and better. But actually the case right now is that my belief is that the next generation will be worse off than the current generations. That's my assumption based on what I'm seeing statistically and also anecdotally. You let me know if you think the same. I hope you appreciate this video, by the way. This is something just off the cuff. Things that I've been thinking about every day, the people I talk to every day. Everybody is always talking about this is too expensive, that's too expensive, rent is rising. I mean, in Toronto right now, the average condo or apartment is renting at $2,100. I mean, it's absurd. That's Canadian dollars, of course, but you know, if you convert that to US dollars, it's still extremely expensive. The average person can't afford that. So that's why people live in places where they are squeezed in together, quite frankly. You'll see that a lot of times. It's not preferable. I mean, they can move out of the city. They can go and live in, more of a rural area. But how are they going to get in to the city to work those jobs, those service-based jobs? That's the economy we've built for ourselves. We've followed the rules, okay? We've followed the rules. We went to school. We drew inside of the line. Don't color outside the lines. That's bad. And then you go to school, okay? Then you go to post-secondary education. You get your college or your university degree, and you did a great job, okay? You did a great job. You followed along. Now you had a whole bunch of student debt. You're all good with that student debt because you knew that you were going to get a good job soon because you had that education that you were told to get. And then maybe you didn't get that job you wanted. Maybe it wasn't in your field, but you got some job. Okay, and so you thought, maybe I'll just work here for a year, maybe just 2 years, maybe just 10 years. Then they walked you off of that job. No longer is your education important, and no longer is your garbage experience important. And this has happened to so many people that I know personally, that I've talked to through different means. We walked ourselves into this mess because we followed along with the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, and the Ford Foundation, everything, top to bottom. It's their plan to make us part of their system. And we need to break free of that. I tried to get into it a little bit on the channel. A lot of people don't like it, and it's quite unfortunate. I try to help people to be able to create different means of income, different ideas, just to spark some ideas into their heads. And unfortunately, it's usually the least watched videos that I have, as well as the most thumbs down, the most negative comments, and people say that they're unsubscribing and everything else. It's quite sad, actually, when I see it, but maybe I'll have to make it a different YouTube channel or something. It's just, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll leave it there. I hope you found this video informative in some way, that you got some information out of it. I know it's not my normal type of thing, but it's just something that I felt that I need to share. So I hope you appreciate it. If you did, of course, give me a thumbs up. I'd like to know what you think, because I know that some of these people out there watching this may have encountered some of those hardships as well. And, if you want some information from me personally, you want some ideas, then you can email me, david@themoneygps.com. I can share with you personally, because a lot of people unfortunately don't want to hear it on the channel. So that's the way it goes. That's all. Take care.